Good morning, everyone. My name is Amir. Welcome to A Stitch with Me. I go by AlmondMnMs, but by this time you should already know that. If you are a returning viewer, if you are a new viewer, welcome. Today we're going to be stitching on a Bristol Sampler. I can put the information down below about this sampler, but we are stitching it on a 56 count 1/1. I primarily wanted to stitch this one close up because I know a lot of people have been asking how am I stitching 1/1, but also I'm guessing they wanted to see my stitching, so I figured I would come in and show you. There's also a few things that I will show along the way, I'm guessing, but specifically is that I'm working from like side to side, but also like interior, like from the middle, like, you know, like the top corner, the top row, the second row. That is from A to E is the first, like the whole width of the page, N to Q, N to R, and then like the A, B, C. I actually stopped because I think C is a problem, but I want to double check, so therefore I'm gonna kind of check. I also think it might be an issue of me turning the fabric, but I'm gonna continue going through to double check first. But I'm stitching from the bottom, like the S, the T, the U, and continuing on to just double check that the C is correct before I frog it. So I just want to make sure that everything looks good before I do it. So sometimes I tend to do it that way, like work from the left, the right, the top, the bottom, to figure out if a specific motif letter is wrong before I like take it out, because obviously frogging 1/1 on a 40 count, on a 56 count can be super annoying. So that's kind of like my thought process on that. I'm not sure if other people do the same thing, but that's kind of like my method on it for the time being, because, you know, like I also don't want to mess up the fabric, and I just want to do it one time, but I also don't want to frog, and what if I frog and it is the correct thing, you know, things like that. I started stitching a little bit earlier this morning, and then I took a mini break, but we're gonna continue here. But yeah, like as you can see, my backs are not that cute, but I really don't mind doing it. But that's pretty much it. You can kind of see me going, and as I hit some hiccups along the way, I guess I'll bring it up. So far I'm enjoying this sampler because I think Shiloh is super right. Every single time you do a letter, it's kind of like you're finishing a motif, so it's kind of like a mini finish, but I just kind of love it because I don't know, like this one is so small. It's red, it's very like the mixture of the red thread and the kind of like oatmeal color fabric. I don't know, it's like touching me in my heart. But yeah, like so far I'm loving this. I have no complaints on it, although soon the letters are gonna start getting smaller, so please be advised that the letters are gonna start getting a little bit tinier. So hopefully you guys don't think that I'm crazy, because I may be crazy for doing this small, but as you can see, I don't have any special tricks of the trade for this. I'm just doing it like any other normal stitching. I'm treating it the same way, and that's pretty much it on it. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to get a little bit more stitching done this morning. I couldn't sleep, so I kind of like got up again and started stitching. But I'm gonna try to get a little bit of more stitching done this morning before I go to work, because it's gonna be an interesting kind of day. I don't know what's gonna happen at work, especially with, you know, what's going on today and the elections and all that stuff. I may get sent home early. We'll see what happens, because I'm in New York, and like kind of like my location where we were, where my job is located, was severely looted and damaged the last time around, so they're taking extra precautions this time around, you know, to make sure that everything is safe, no one gets hurt and all those things. So we'll see what happens. We're playing it by ear, so either I may have some extra stitchy time tonight or I may not, so you will see what happens. It's gonna be interesting. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about that. You know, we've been waiting a little bit too long for today, so I'm glad it's here. And hopefully by tonight we will figure out everything about what's going on. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But as you can see, my bags are not that cute. I just kind of tuck my threads. I don't do much. I do need to go back and trim all of my threads. I haven't done so because they haven't bothered me. Also, depending on where, depending on where I started, it doesn't really bother me. So I haven't gone through and cleaned up my bags. I do gotta go through and clean them up because they're not cute. And I know it might be a problem when it comes down to framing and all those good things. So it's gonna be interesting. We'll see what happens, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So far, I know someone asked me about the Surfine thread that I've been using. I have no complaints about it. I recommend it. I have no complaints about it. I am stitching it with one strand, but I'm pretty sure you can do it with two, or whichever amount of floss you feel comfortable with. But yeah, I don't have a problem with it, so hopefully it works out for you too. I know it wasn't easy for me to find it. Not a lot of stores carry it, but I was able to find it in a place that has a great selection. I found it from like the Needle in a Haystack. I believe Hobby House may have it. Don't quote me on that one. And I also believe Acorns and Threads may have it. There's a few places that have it, but those are kind of like the places that I've been frequenting with my online shopping. But aside from that, hopefully, I haven't had any issues with it, so that's kind of like my point of view on it. So we'll see what happens. I think I'm personally gonna use more in the near future. Hopefully one day when I become rich, I can have one of each color, just like the DMC, but these are a little bit more pricier to have. Sorry I keep on yawning, but like I said, I didn't sleep last night, so I know today I'm gonna be a little bit off whack. But yeah, like I hope that one day I can have a full selection of the Surfine threads, like I do with the DMC, but you know, your girl needs to hit the lotto before that happens, because I mean, having the full collection of DMC is one thing, but these flosses are a little bit more expensive, so we will see what happens. But I think I'll slowly start adding them into my collection, especially kind of like the jewel tone colors and things like that, because I don't see any issues with it, and they're awesome. And yeah, I mean, I have no complaints. As you can tell, I'm pretty much happy and content and obsessed with them. So if you haven't given them a try giving them a try. You may not want to do the Surfine, but you can do the 103 ones. As you can see, I also do get knots, but not as many as what you may think. But I just take my time. Literally with this sampler, I can go a little bit faster, but I am taking my sweet time, because I am double checking, triple checking, 4-time checking, and counting to make sure that I am on the correct spot, to avoid any mistakes, to avoid any issues. So I highly recommend for you to do the same, because you know, if there's a mistake, it's going to be super devastating for everyone involved, which is most likely just going to be you. So I highly recommend for you, or for anyone, to just take it slow when it's kind of on a smaller scale. I am doing the same thing for the Zimmerman coverlet that I'm working on. Excuse me. I hope I don't yawn all day at work, but I'm doing the same with the Zimmerman coverlet as well. See, here you can see that I stopped stitching from the bottom, and how I started up on the top again. And this is primarily because I don't want to have any mistakes. So as I mentioned, I'm stitching a little bit unconventionally. I'm working kind of like towards the middle of the issue, or towards the middle of the target, so I kind of tend to jump around between letters as well, just to avoid any mistakes or anything like that. So since I know the top is correct, I just go back to the top and continue stitching and making my way down. If you know what that is, being silly in the morning. But as I was saying, I will work my way down this way now, just to make sure that I'm correct, and I know I'm correct, versus doing it from the bottom, because then I'll be like, oh, is this right, is this not right, and then I'll most likely have to frog. But that's pretty much it. Just so you know, this sampler will probably take me forever, although each letter I feel like it's a quick stitch, but it's just, given the nature of the project, I feel like it's gonna take me a while. So I'm just trying to do a few letters a day, 1 or 2, to make sure that I stay on track. I do know that there is a lot of letters on this one. I'm not quite sure how many letters it is. I feel like it might be, I don't know how many alphabets. I don't even want to, what's the word? I don't even want to guess how many alphabets it is. I feel like it might be above 10 alphabets, but you can probably see it in the picture. I'm gonna put a picture on the top left corner, hopefully. I'll just include it so you can see where I'm at as I'm stitching. But I do know that this is a whopping 300 by 500 stitches long. So it's gonna be great. I know, like on 20/40, like 20/40 count, I'm guessing that's, what is it, over 2, it's gonna be 15 by 25 inches, so probably it's gonna be way smaller for me. I did measure, I do have enough, so I'm not worried. But it's gonna be interesting to see the motifs start to appear. But yeah, as I'm actually stitching, but also looking up to make sure that I am correct. Give me 1 second. Cool. But yeah, I think each of these alphabets are interesting and cute, so hopefully we can inspire you to stitch with us. I'm going to put all the information below as well for the Stitch With Me. I'm doing it with Shiloh and Tiffany. I can double check her Instagram and all those goodies, and include it below as well, because I don't know her Instagram from the top of my head, and I don't want to butcher it, but we're doing it together, and hopefully we can. My alarm is going off, but my boyfriend just shut it off for me. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I think it's Tiffin Stitches, but I'm gonna include it below. Yeah, we're stitching it together, so we're doing a little mini sal. I joined late, so I have to play catch up. Hopefully I can catch up to them, and then we can actually stitch this with me versus me catching up. But it's fun. I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great to see it framed. I always think about the end picture, the end goal, but that's pretty much it. I know a lot of you, I'm gonna jump into personal. If you don't want to hear me talk about personal, you can kind of tune me out a little bit. I know a lot of you were asking me about the property that I'm trying to buy and kind of like what's going on with that. So I figured, since it's a little stitch with me, and to actually have a completely different conversation rather than just stitching, I would just kind of pop it in here, and if you watch the Stitch With Me's, you'll know, and if you don't watch the Stitch With Me's, then you won't know, and it's not a big deal. But yeah, so long story short, this apartment, we've been stalking it since before COVID, and we wanted to get it. But because of COVID, we weren't able to see it and all the goodies. Finally, in August, I believe, we were able to see it, and on the spot we said yes, we want it. Did all of our paperwork, we put in our offer, the offer was accepted, and yay, happily ever after. However, our agent made a mistake and thought that because we wanted to negotiate our offer, he thought that we meant we don't want it, because we did a counter offer. So there was kind of a moment of silence, probably of like 2 or 3 weeks, and during that time, the apartment went into contract with someone else. So, you know, for myself, I'm like, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If it's not, it's not. So yeah, I went into contract with someone else. So we started looking at other places. And then a few weeks ago, our agent is like, hey, remember that apartment? Do you still want it? And we said, yeah, we still want it. So now we're back into contract again. Placed our offer, accepted the offer, signed the contract, and did all of those goodies. So now we're in a better place with the whole situation because we can, you know, after we placed the offer, did all the contracts and everything, placed our deposit, now we can kind of technically sleep at peace. But we're hoping to get this done fairly quickly, because we lost a lot of time over the summertime with this mistake. So we're trying to get this done pretty much quickly. I didn't renew the lease on my apartment as well, and my lease is up at the ending of this year, so we gotta get this done. Sorry, for some reason I clicked something, but yeah, hopefully we can get this done, and we will be in our new home. Sorry about that. You're always gonna hear a lot of sirens and noise outside of the window, but as I was saying, hopefully we can be in our new home by the ending of the year, or at least start moving. We're hoping that we can be done by the ending of the year, because if not, I'm gonna be homeless. So that's gonna be interesting, because I refused to sign my lease on this apartment, so it's gonna be interesting. But that's kind of my update on my current situation. So I have the U done, which is great. I can go to another motif. I'm showing you my back a little bit closer so you can see, you know. A lot of us have messy backs as well, and I am included. But as I said, I have no shame in my game. I will never hide my backs from anyone. You know, because what is it? Business in the front, party in the back. Yeah, that's pretty much what my cross stitching looks like on a daily basis, or all the time. I do like pin stitching and all that stuff, but I feel like for me personally, it doesn't work. Sorry that I keep on going out of frame. I tend to forget. I tend to forget that I have a camera above me. I haven't gotten great at this, but I do know when I have my setup on my desk again, I can be able to kind of like map out and tape out the area on where I can stitch and move around, versus having to look back at the screen over and over again. But yeah, that's gonna be, by the time I move, I will have a new recording spot, and it's gonna be a table again, because currently I just stitch on my bed. Well, when I'm recording, I record on my bed or on the floor, but the floor is kind of hard and it's cold today, so I'm stitching on my bed, and it's cozy. So until I have new arrangements, it's gonna be my arrangement. But yeah, you guys can't tell. You may be able to tell because my legs are crossed, but aside from that, it's kind of my own situation right now with that. But yeah, that's kind of my update with my apartment hunting and searching and all the goodies. Thank you so much to everyone that has reached out to me, checked in with me, asked questions, both here on FlossTube, Instagram and now Virtual Stitchers, because I've been going to Virtual Stitchers on a regular, and it's fun. I get to meet new people, see new things that people are stitching, and just kind of like be a little bit more involved in the cross stitch community, especially because I don't have that many stitchy friends, aside from all of you on YouTube that I interact with, or Instagram that I interact with. But now with Virtual Stitchers, I can have like actual conversations, like verbal conversations, and you can kind of like see each other, although it's not face to face, at least it's virtually, which is great. You can kind of build relationships that way. That way as well. But yeah, thank you to everyone that has been checking up on me and to see like what's going on with my whole apartment situation and all those goodies. But I have faith. Keep your fingers and toes crossed for me throughout this whole process. Hopefully it gets done quickly and effectively, because we all know that these things tend to take a long time, and people tend to forget things and all those goodies and blah blah blah. So you just want to make sure that hopefully we can get through this. So just keep me in your thoughts and keep your toes and fingers crossed for me. Aside from that, I don't have much else of a life update, aside from I'm stitching my sorrows and stuff away, because I feel like I use my stitching as many of us do, as a relax, like a way to relax, but also I just use it a way to kind of like get away from everything. There's a lot of stuff going on, especially everyone has issues going on in their life, or like a little bit of trials and things like that, but hopefully it's not such of a big deal. I'm a true believer that although today is a bad day, hopefully tomorrow is going to get better. If not, the following day is going to get better. It's not always bad throughout the whole time. It gets better. So I always kind of like to look at the light at the ending of the tunnel, and I just feel that we don't get the I want to say like the trials and tribulations, or kind of like we don't get the challenges that we can't accomplish. There's nothing that we cannot accomplish. We just have to do it step by step, take it one step at a time, one day at a time, and a few years down the line or a few months down the line, we'll be reflecting, saying, wow, I was going through this happened, and I'll be able to reflect and be like, I went through it, I perceive, or is that the word, perceived? I came above it and I moved forward from it. So I feel like that's pretty much kind of like how I take it, although you still have to be realistic about it, and understand that this is what's happening, and you just go forward from that. But yeah, I've been using a lot of my stitching to just decompress and get away from everything that's happening in the world right now, and plus all the other personal life situation drama, but it's not a big deal. I'm excited to actually get to this V, because I think the V is so pretty, and the W as well, so it's gonna be interesting once I start stitching the V and the W, because some alphabets you're like, is that a V or is that a U? Like W, you can always tell because it has the two little bumps on the bottom. So it's like, oh, is that a V or is that a U? But like for this alphabet, you can clearly tell the difference. And then the M is not really like an upside down U, it's an actual M. So I'm really digging this specific alphabet, especially coming from a graphic design background. We did a lot of typography, so sometimes when I see like those patches that you see on jackets and they're wearing like an M or a W, I'm like, that letter is actually supposed to be the opposite and you're wearing it upside down. So good luck with that, but technically that's not the correct letter that you should be using. I don't know if a lot of you notice that, but I tend to notice stuff like that and I just giggle on the inside and I'm just like, well, I guess people don't realize that, but I notice it, so it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, aside from that, I'm always like, man. But this alphabet is not that bad, which is great. Yeah. Well, I don't want to stop stitching, but I'm gonna have to stop stitching because I have to start getting ready for work, because I don't want to be late, and I know there's gonna be people waiting for me, so I hate when people wait for me. I don't like being late, so I'm gonna see if I can stop at a happy spot where I can visually see what my stitching looks like versus the chart and not have to like count and compare and possibly make a mistake because I didn't remember where I was left off at. But yeah, I'm trying to find like a little cute spot to leave off at. I'm gonna see if I can do a few more stitches and hopefully I can remember, because I don't mark my chart even though it's electronic. Aside from that, I hope everyone has a great day, at work, at school, if you're off, whichever way it is. I hope you enjoy it. Hopefully I'll be able to see you tomorrow. I'm gonna see if I can record tonight again or tomorrow morning. Hopefully I can see you tomorrow morning. I may do it in Spanish because I have my Spanish friends abandoned, so if you're trying to brushing up your Spanish, don't hesitate to check it out in Spanish as well. And maybe stitching, well obviously I'll be stitching more of this in the alphabet. So yeah, hopefully I can catch you in Spanish. If not, I'll catch you in English again. As always, thank you so much for stitching with me and taking the time out of your day, especially your morning, to just chat and hear me ramble a little bit. I guess I'm supposed to say comment, subscribe. I don't know, like someone was like, you never say comment and subscribe, and I'm just like, I don't know, I always forget. I'm not quite sure, but I guess I'm supposed to say that, so I'll say that this time around. Comment, subscribe, like, whatever all the YouTube terms are. But this is where I'm at, little progress at a time. This is where I'm at, because I'm actually stopping here, and with my little squirrel, because this was a squirrel pattern that I started, and for the last time I'll show you my back. Thank you again and have a great day. Bye guys.